G'day, welcome back to my channel. Now, many people have asked me to do another video on lighting and photographing models. So here it is, part 3, and this one's all about colour, because a lot of people talk to me and ask me about what colour backgrounds should I use. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what happens when you change the colour of your background. Alright, to prove my point, I've set up a fixed lighting application here. I'll show you a wide shot. Now, none of my lights are going to move or change intensity. And all I'm going to do, and I'm going to not even move the iPad, right? So everything is fixed, nothing changes. Only thing will be I will tap on the flag of my little ship. Okay, so I'll put my little ship every time in frame. So it just sits there, right? And the only thing I'm going to do is over here, let me find my little pointy stick. Over here, I'm going to tap on the screen. And I'll do that now. And it's locked the colour in. Just to prove the point, I'll tap in other spots of the screen so you can see how it changes. Well, maybe not. Oh, so there's various other levels of exposure that you could get here. But no, I'm just going to tap on this flag and that's it, which will set that exposure and that focus. So that's our red ship. Well, that's our red background. Now, some points to note. See how orange the hull has become. Okay, so that's become very, very orange. Notice how golden the brass has become. Now the deck, you won't notice it, but there's a tiny bit of red in the deck now. Not so much reflected in, because basically the reflection is all happening at the bottom here, but because the white balance, and remember our flag has red in it, and it's getting reflected light in from around in the background. So it'll affect everything, your exposure, your balance, and just the general look psychologically or subjectively is going to change whenever you change the background colour. So in this case, a ship on a red background, because it's got a red hull and a grey hull and then yellow decking, it's not really very complementary. In fact, it starts to make it look very sallow and horrible. Let's move on to our next colour. Now I'm just going to peel this away to show you we don't change anything. Even though that background is a bit scummy, I know, it doesn't matter. It's green. Oh dear, this looks so much different. Okay, so much different. All right, now I'm going to tap on the little flag. So it goes into focus. Okay, the green. The green has changed this again. And although it looked kind of orangey red in the last photo, I might even put it up in the corner of the screen here for comparison. Now it's really gone sallow and horrible. It doesn't look red at all. It looks a sort of pucey colour. Okay, the gold on the props, well, it's similar, but actually it's turned more yellow, and that's a reflection of green. Remember, in light, red and green make yellow. So if you're reflecting red or green onto a yellow subject, it's actually making it stronger. Okay, but if you put blue on a yellow subject, you'll see what happens shortly. Okay, so that's the effect we get with green. And just for comparison, we'll put a couple of little shots up here showing what our red one looked like. Moving along, and not changing anything, I'm going to go to the white. Wouldn't have been my first choice, I would have rather gone to the blue. But anyhow, we'll do white now because unfortunately that's the way I've done it. Now notice something straight away. We haven't changed our focus or our white balance from the last shot. That's locked in the iPad. Once the iPad's locked, it's locked. And that's exactly the same light. But look how different that looks with its white background. This is an illusion of contrast in colours. Because our background is so bright, this makes the subject look really dark. Okay, now I'm going to tap on the flag. Okay, so I'll tap on the flag and we'll just raise. I'm actually going to do a little trick and raise the exposure a little bit, because otherwise I know with white you won't see anything. Okay, now it all starts to come out. Now it starts to look a lot brighter. But things have changed. The screws, the brass screws over here, they're no longer as golden. In fact, they look a little green now. That's interesting. The hull has lost either its bright orangey red colour or its kind of puce colour, and it's gone more to sort of an oxide colour. All right. Now, you may not be seeing, you might be saying, Harry, it's all the same colours, I can't see what you're talking about. Believe me, I have incredible colour definition. When I went to work for Mount Isa Mines, they put you through testing of hearing and all the sort of things, and a colour test. And they sent me back 3 times on the colour test because they said I was cheating. My eyes can really see the different colours. But anyhow, that's by the by. I just know that the white background is basically giving you a neutral reflection. So you only really get the colour of the lights that you're pouring in. And if you've white balanced anyway, your white balance, especially if you're white balanced to white, this is what the balance means. When you tap on your camera, 2 things happen. Right? If you tap on a spot on your camera, it focuses to that point. So if I tap down here, right, my flag will go slightly soft, and the back of the top mast is slightly soft, but that fin down there is in focus. But if I tap up here, okay, things are changing all the time. All right, and I go back to tapping on the flag. So there we go, we've tapped on there, on the flag, and normal exposure makes everything really dark, so we need to tap on that flag and draw things up a little bit. Let's expose a bit more. That's only because I'm cheating a bit with the white, because if we didn't, you wouldn't be able to see what's going on. And that's the thing, backgrounds change the contrast between your model and the background itself, right? So the old rule used to be if you had a dark subject, you put it on a light background and expose it up. If you've got a light subject, you put it on a dark background, and so on. The contrast will bring things out. Let's throw a black background in there right now. I'm going to just pop the model out. We always know that's the same position. Nothing else has moved. I've just got some black card here that I'll pop in. Got some weights I have to put on it, so just bear with me. And notice how overexposed we are because we just had that white. Okay, so there's our black card. We need to slide this way a bit. All right, there's our black card. I'll actually tap in that now to show you what's going on. So tap, and that's darker. And here's our subject. Oh, look, things just changing radically. Okay, look how different our Yamato looks with a black background. And again, I'll tap on the little flag. Right, so a little flag over here. I'm going to tap on that on the screen. And it's try to expose too brightly, actually. So I'm probably better off tapping somewhere that's going to give me a slightly different look. There we go. I actually tapped on the lower part of the hull over here. Tapped on there. And look at that. Now, in the corner of the picture, I will show the white exposure, or the white shot, and see how different they are. Notice in this one, the hull has really become orange. The screws are very yellow. The deck is bright yellow. The whole grey actually looks so much lighter and brighter. We can do a bit of a manual adjust there. So let's, I'll actually make things a little bit darker. There we go. And this is the thing. The coloured background has completely changed the environment, yet we have exactly the same lights. The lighting has not changed. The only difference might be the backlight. Oh, all right. Let me just, there's the backlight, sorry. I had my fingers in the way. All right, let's tap our flag now and see what we get with the backlight. Not a lot different. I've just got a bit more light on the back of the card. So just making sure I'm not lying here. So again, if we expose up, it's too bright. Down, we'll get something reasonable. Okay, so that's black. Now let's go to what I think is the perfect colour for shooting ships. Right, bear with me. I'm doing this all in one take so that you know I'm not cheating. So just bear with me while I change things over. Now that's a blue background. So here again is our Yamato in frame. It looks different again, doesn't it? Now blue suits ships because psychologically they sit in the ocean. Okay, so I'll just tap on the flag. You know, ships go in the ocean, so blue kind of psychologically works really well for them anyway. But the blue has changed some things. The blue has actually brought out more there's more darkness in the shadows on the props. Okay, you can compare the photos on the side. I'll pop them up. The blue has taken out the strength or the orange or the redness of the hull and dulled it down a bit, and it's become more, again, a sort of a rusty puce sort of colour. The yellow in the deck, well, that's not too bad. That's actually neutralised. It's not as bright yellow as it was back when we had a black background or a white background. All the greys have got a slight blue tinge. I know that. I mean, if I actually took colour swatches, they would all have blue in them. And that's reflected blue from this environment. Because remember, the light is bouncing around. Although you're putting a light on your model, it's hitting the background, bouncing onto the model, bouncing all around, bouncing off things. You know, all I'd have to do is bring in a bit of red here and things would change radically. All right, so drop in some red, colours start changing straight away. And I'll take the red out and they change again. This is the thing. Light is not just your lamp on the model. Light is what's around it, what's bouncing on it, and what's happening. Now, admittedly, I'm using 3 lights here. I've got, all 3. So I've got a left light, a right light, and I have the backlight. And that's how I'm accomplishing this lighting setup, which is the easiest way to light your models, because you get natural illumination. Well, you get a natural all-over even illumination if you're trying to do it inside. Okay. Remember, outside, there's only one light source. But everyone goes, oh, things look better outside. They look better outside because of reflections. Because inside, if you've got your model lamp on something, unless you've got a good reflective surfaces, and I've shown this in the first video in the series, the reflecting light is the key thing to how a subject looks. So when you're outside, there's so much light, it's bouncing off everything. And in fact, often you don't shoot in direct sunlight, you shoot in the shadows. Well, hang on, the shadows should all be black. No, they're not. All the shadows outside are full of reflected light, and we know that. I mean, again, the rule if we were shooting cars in television is we shoot a white car backlit or in shadow, so the light wasn't directly on it. Because if you had the sun directly on a white car, it was impossible to shoot. It was too bright. And if you had a black car or a dark car, you'd shoot that in direct sunlight. And this was the thing. Your lighting environment interacts with the colour on the subject and also the colours around it. So it's a very fascinating subject. But just to simplify things, if you're shooting photos of your model and you want to do it quickly, well, it's a ship, see if you've got something blue. I've got a lovely blue card as well, I'll show you that. So although this background is good because I use this when I'm cutting, building my models, building my models. Let's pop this in here. This is one I made up. It's almost like a photographer's background because it's got a patina to it. Again, bear with me. I'm letting you see this warts and all so that you know I'm not cheating. The lighting environment is constant. Okay, so there's our bite. And this is a background that's actually got various colours. It was a blue, but it was too indigo. And so what I did is I sprayed some lighter Stolnares blue on it. And that's given me a lovely little background. Now, see how fast I just threw that in there and... I'll get it correctly positioned. There we go. I've just thrown that in there and we're on video. And I could easily go and take a photograph. And it's done. And that doesn't look too bad at all, does it? It really is that easy to take photos if you've got the right backgrounds. And just having a piece of white paper or a piece of black paper, or having a large cutting mat where you make sure you shoot with basically the model as far forward on the cutting mat as possible, so the background is all cutting mat and not confused with the stuff on your workbench. Now, I've shown this in the video called Staging, which is number 2 of lighting, about how you set up your model to take a photo. And it only takes seconds. This isn't like messing around for ages with a light box and having to fiddle with 20 lights on a subject. No, you don't need that. If you're a professional photographer and you know exactly what you're doing, yeah, they use a lot of lights, they use special lighting jigs and environments. Fantastic. And yes, there is reason for doing that. But that's far too complex to explain in this video, and quite frankly, we don't need to know. All you need to be able to do is quickly take a photograph of your model, right? That's all you want to do. You want to share it on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or whatever, or just share the picture with your mates. Say, look, I built this. And there's ways of doing it so that your model looks fantastic. Using smart devices like iPhones and Androids or whatever, and smart tablets like my iPad, all these devices have an autofocus, auto exposure, and auto white balance. And you just tap your finger on the most appropriate spot of your subject in the screen, and bingo, the phone does all the hard work for you. It's not like what we used to have to do in my years in media, where we used to have to manually set the colour balance, manually expose and manually balance the focus. We had to do all that stuff. That allowed us more control. And admittedly, somebody with a good SLR camera can do all kinds of things because they've got control over all those parameters. You don't need that. You just want to put the model on your bench, snap. Hey, look everybody, this is my model I just made. Doesn't look great. And that's what I'm trying to do in these videos. They're not for expert photographers. They're for you and me and all the other great unwashed out there, so that we can quickly just snap a pic of our model and share it with our friends, and at least it's illuminated and it looks the right colour. So I hope this has helped some people that struggle and wonder why their model never looks the right colour when they shoot it. Like when they're looking at it with their eyes, it looks one colour. When they shoot it with the camera, it looks another. That's another whole subject on how the eye changes exposure and also psychologically paints in colours and things for you. So the eye does all kinds of things in the mind. Well, it's really the mind that does it. So the eye takes in input and then the mind completely extrapolates it all and comes up with its idea of what the picture should look like. Yeah, that's all going on. Your mind is cheating the whole time and not really telling you or showing you what's actually there. It's giving you an interpretation of the world. But when you shoot with a digital camera, it's dumb. It doesn't really have that smart a mind. It can auto balance, auto focus, and basically auto expose. Yep, it can do all those things. And then that's it. Clunk. It gives a dumb picture of those settings. All right, well, I hope this has been of some use to you, and possibly it might help you in understanding how colours change the look of your model and how lighting can make a big difference to how your model looks. But also, it's not that hard to take a photo of your model on your workbench, basically with the lamps that you should have there. You should have at least one or two. 3 is good. 3 is the best. 3 is what I've got. All right, that's it. It's goodbye from Australia, and it's hooroo from Harry Houdini.